Hey, what's up, guys? It's gonna be a little bit of a change of pace type of video. I wanted to get into a story that I don't know. I think it's pretty funny. We'll see how it goes. So basically, a couple years ago, right when I was in school, I was applying for a ton of jobs. You know, job after job after job, and nothing was getting to me whatsoever. No one was hitting me up. I'm like, fuck, man, dude. Like, I need something, you know. So after applying, by the way, I went to the University of Louisville. I finally get this job offer, delivery driver from Papa John's. I'm like, oh, that's awesome, man. I'm from New York, So, yeah, I've been a delivery driver. I know the ropes, the whole thing. The only thing that sucked that I remember is the day of me starting, the Yankees were in the playoffs. They were playing the Twins. And I'm like, damn, dude. Pretty sure the game started at like 7 or something like that. I have to go in at like 6. So, anyway, I finally, I get there, and I meet the boss. He's like a veteran. He seems like a decent guy or whatever. And he's like, hey, man, sit tight, dude. I'm going to give you these work forms. You're going to fill them out. Just give me 1 second. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm waiting 5 minutes. 5 minutes turns to 10 minutes, turns to 20, to 30, to 40. I end up waiting like 45 minutes, right? At this point, I'm like, I got to take a piss. I got to take a leak, So I'm like, all right, I'm watching this guy count the money. He's like, oh, yeah. I count the money to make sure like none of the employees steal stuff. I'm like, what? It's not even crossed my mind. I just thought what are you making for the day? This is the type of place I'm talking about, right? So I go to the bathroom, right? I knock on the door. Girl's on the phone. She starts screaming at me from inside the bathroom. It's like, hey, like, you gotta give me a second, blah, blah, blah. And I knock again. I wait a couple minutes. I knock again. I'm like, look, I gotta go to the bathroom. My teeth are floating here. And she starts cursing. She's like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm like, all right, whatever. This is my first day. I don't want to make trouble, but I really gotta go to the bathroom anyway. So while I'm waiting, I'm looking at the walls, right? And out of 2,200 Papa John's, nationally, internationally, I don't know if they have them in China or some shit, it was ranked like 1850. So it was one of the worst ranked Papa John's. Literally, if you look it up on Google, it has 1 star. I'm like, oh God, what did I get myself into, right? So I go back up front, Meanwhile, this other dude knocks on the door. She comes out, and she's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, this and that. Going off on this guy. I feel terrible. I'm like, God, thank God it's not me though, So anyway, right? Finally, this guy finishes, but he's like, you know what? We'll just do the paper thing later. I'm gonna have you shadow someone. You'll take like 4 or 5 deliveries with the guy, and just kind of learn the ropes. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, I've done this before. I've worked for a couple pizzerias. He's like, nah, man, trust me. You want to see the lay of the land here. I'm like, all right, cool. So he partners me up with this guy named Chubbs. Now, Chubbs is probably like 5'6", complete fucking white, not even white trash. He's like fake. He's like fake ghetto. I guess I don't even know what he is, dude. He is the biggest anomaly I've ever met in my life. One of the weirdest and sketchiest people ever. So I'm like, all right, what's up, Chubbs? How you doing? He's like, hey, man, what's going on, bro? You're going to make a ton of money, bro. It's going to be sick, dude. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. I'm just trying to make a couple bucks, He's like, nah, bro. I rack in like G's at a time. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. He's like, dude, I have like 3 or 4 whips. I just use this to deliver. I'm like, okay. And what I mean by that is we go outside and there's a Prius, right? He's talking about how he's rich, how his girl owns a speedway in Indiana, and how she makes a ton of money, and he doesn't really need this job. If you look at this Prius, half of the siding is ripped off. There's a blanket in the back seat with a pillow. The man's sleeping there. He's got grams in the cup holders. Cigarette butts everywhere. I'm like, oh God, this dude is living in the car. I'm like, all right, this is weird. We get in, he starts talking. First thing he does goes, want to rip. He gives me this wax pen. I'm like, dude, I just met you, This is my first day on the job. I have no idea what's going on. There's no chance in hell I'm doing that now, right? So we start driving. The first thing he says is like, bro, never use your GPS. Like, your GPS will lie to you. You have to learn it, bro. I know this place like a Call of Duty map. I know everything that's going on in the city at all times. I'm like, okay, guy. I don't know what to say to that. Anyway, he's like, you always call before we get there, you know, because sometimes people leave prank calls and they won't pick up their orders. I'm like, who's buying like $40, $50 of pizza on their car and not, you know, picking up the pizza? Whatever, doesn't matter. So first place we go to is a project. Now I've worked in New York City and I've seen the hood, man. Downtown Louisville is sketchy, dude. It's sketchy. There's this project and he goes, hey, it's company policy, we don't go in here. He's like, never go in here. But since I'm with you, let's go in. I'm like, yeah, I guess, man, why not? And I'm kind of shaking in my boots a little bit. Like I could handle myself. Like, look, put it this way. I know what to do in the wild and I spot a bear, but I'm never gonna run in between a bear and its cub, you know? That's a suicide. So anyway, we get in, people screaming, music playing, smells like herb. I'm like, what is going on, dude? Right? So we get to the elevator and I'm like, oh my God, let's just get there. Let's get the pizza. You know, I'm shitting my pants. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm shitting my pants. So we finally get upstairs. We knock on this woman's door, you know, and before he's giving her the pizza, he's like, make sure you always read out the order. And he's doing this in front of her. And like, you can tell she's pissed off. She's like, just give me the pizza and then leave me the fuck alone. He's like reading it out. He's like, half cheese, half pepperoni, like 2-liter Diet Coke or whatever. She's like, yeah, that's not even my order. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're completely wrong. And he goes, that's a life lesson, dude. You see what happens, bro? That's why you always read it first. I'm like, whatever, man. She tips him $1. I'm like, what the fuck is going on, right? We walk out of the apartment. He's like, hey, by the way, make sure you always lock your doors because last delivery driver we had, they held him at gunpoint and stole his car. I'm like, okay. At this point, I'm thinking already, I'm like, just get through the day. I'll go home. I'll find another job. You know? That's where I'm at right now. I'm like, yeah, all right. You know, we start driving back, and I'll never forget. We're pulled over on a road, or not pulled over on a road. We're on a red light, and there's a truck next to us. The guy kind of seems sketchy too, but he's like, "Hey man, what are you guys doing delivering pizza here?" Because you could see like the Papa John's sign over the car. He's like, "Yeah, this is a really bad area. Like, you guys shouldn't be here." And he's like, "Nah, man, it's all good, bro. Don't worry about it, dude. I know this world. I know this land." I'm like, "Chubbs, you're tweaking out, you know." But I'm not saying it, but I'm thinking it. This guy's fucking off it, you know. Anyway. So we get back, right? And, you know, I'm already like, oh, dude, I don't want to do this. You know, this is sketchy. This is weird, you know? And, you know, basically my boss says the same thing. He reiterates, like, you always lock your doors. Like, there's homeless people that come into our parking lot and break windows and steal cars. I'm like, oh shit, like I don't even want to be here anymore. This is fucking nuts. By the way, all the people that are working there are ignoring calls, I swear to God, making pizzas for themselves. Literally, dude, I see a guy like pull out like a medium pie. I'm like, oh, you know, must be packing it up for us. Nah, he just takes slices out and starts eating it. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, so at this point we go for our second order and we call in. And the number we call is like, hey, yeah, by the way, we didn't order any pizza. We have no idea what you're talking about. And he's like, you know what, dude? It's going to be on my ass if we don't go anyway. Chubb's like, let's just go. I'm like, all right, dude, whatever, man. We get there and we're in, once again, like, it kind of looks like a motel is the best way I can describe it, but it's like apartment complexes. And this dude, like, pulls over, lowers the window, and asks her direction. And she's like, hey, he's like, hey, what's up, bae? You know, he's a fucking idiot. The girl gives us the dirtiest look and walks off. Then we see two kids on bicycles look at us and dart. And I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna get mugged. This is it. You know, I don't have a lot of money on me, but whatever I have is fucking gone in 2 seconds. So anyway, you know, we go to deliver it. By the way, the address doesn't even exist. The apartment never existed. He's like, damn it, bro, this happens all the time. I'm like, dude, I could have told you that. So now we're 2 deliveries in. He made $1 in tips, literally, between the first woman who hated him and the second one who didn't even exist. It was like Casper the Ghost. Anyway, so we're driving back, and for some reason he's like not talking at all, and then he goes, oh, by the way, that's a domestic abuse center. I'm like, I am horrified. I'm like, how the fuck does that guy know this? Like, this guy's problems, dude. And he's like, hey, man, by the way, if you need a plug, you know, I got you. I'm like, you are the last person I'd ever buy anything off of, right? So we get back, and my boss is like, "Hey, we need. Oh, by the way, after this next delivery, like I think you got the lay of the land. We're gonna send you on your own." I'm like, "Fuck that, dude. Hell, fucking no."
Yeah.
I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, "This is it. This is my last delivery. I'm going home. I'm not doing this to myself." So, we start driving. I tell him flat out, I'm like, "Hey, bro, this ain't for me, bro. I'm not doing this." And then all of a sudden, if you remember from the beginning how he said this is the best job ever and you'll make a ton of money, he's like, "Yeah, dude, it's shit, bro. We made $1, bro. You won't make shit here. It fucking sucks." He's like, "Just how about this? Like, we'll see what happens on the third delivery, and if the third delivery's bad, then do your thing." I'm like, "Yeah, cool. Even when we made $20 on the third delivery, I'm still out, right?" So anyway, we drive there, right? And the poor woman, unfortunately, you could just tell she was addicted to crack or something. We give her the pizza. She's shaking the whole time. It was sad. Gives us like $2. This man made $3 in an hour and a half. $3, and you know how delivery drivers, and delivery workers, they don't make a ton of money, But $3, like your base salary is nothing. So that's it. That's your bread and butter. I'm not doing that, especially in that area. I'm good. I value my life. So anyway, we start driving back, and God bless him, by the way. If you want to deliver on the hood, dude, you're a fucking hero, because I can't do that shit. So we start, it was crazy. It was crazy. So we start driving back, and he's like, bro, it's not even, I'm like saying like, "Yeah, dude, I don't want to do this. The area's too bad." He's like, "Bro, it's not bad at all. What are you talking about? This isn't shit." We start, literally, as he's saying that, we're passing like, when like people put shoes over power lines, like, "Oh, we're selling drugs here." Like, that's there. There's a trash can on fire next to him, and there's a bridge, and under the bridge is a ton of homeless people. At the time, he said, "This neighborhood isn't that bad." I'm like, "Sorry, bud. I'm not doing this shit anymore." So we get back. My boss is like, "All right, you ready to go on your own?" I'm like, "No, actually, thank you." I take off my shirt. I'm gone. I'm not doing this. He gets pissed. My boss gets pissed, or my boss for an hour. I guess he's technically my boss. He's like, "Oh, what is this? Like, oh, you're trying to fucking show me up and all this, that." I'm like, "No, I don't want to do this. I thank you for the opportunity. Do you, dog?" And he's like starting to yell at me. I'm like, "I don't even care what you have to say. No offense. I'm leaving." And then like a couple of the workers, they were actually really nice. They're like, "Hey, like, March Madness is coming up. You'll make a ton of money." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good, man. Don't worry about it. I'll see you later." So anyway, I get my shirt. I take the thing off the top of my car. I give it to him. I'm like, "I'm out." So remember that Yankee game that I was so pissed that I couldn't see? I end up getting back. It's like the 5th inning. I was there for like an hour and a half, dude. I swear to God. It was the craziest story. But anyway, if you enjoyed this, if you enjoy what I'm doing right now, if you enjoy the stories, I'll do more of it. I got more Left 4 Dead coming soon. I got more GeoGuessr coming soon. I'm streaming every day from 4 to 8:30. Let me know what you guys think. Please like, comment, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. And I'll see you later.